Welcome back to Season 2 of The Core, where we're planting the seeds to financial success. I'm Colten Hibbs, Education Credit Union's Financial Health Coordinator, and today I'm joined by Bryce, one of our Buff Smart tellers. So thank you so much for being here. Tell me about your journey to ECU, to our Buff Smart branch being a teller.
Yeah, so I kind of found out about ECU through our Buff Smart Money Management program out at WT. I was working on getting more scholarships, those kind of things. And I was like, I should probably go, manage money. That's probably an important piece of things. So I went and saw that, and it wasn't necessarily my avenue for like the career I want to go to, but I kind of figured, nonprofit, there's a lot to do with money management and development and a lot of intentional spending and how to play out loans correctly and write grants and do those kind of things. So I figured working with a financial institution would be very helpful. And so I talked to ECU a lot. I talked to other banks, but the deal was it wasn't as personable and it wasn't authentic. And those are things I always look for when I look at employers or look at anybody. I want to know that you're going to be consistently authentic, and that's the most important piece to me.
I really love that answer. Oh my gosh. There's so much to play with there. All right, let's go. So whenever you mentioned getting into nonprofit work, and I love obviously the mention of ECU's authenticity and how a credit union essentially is fundamentally a different financial institution than a bank or other lenders. And has that community focus. And we build those community relationships with things like the Amarillo Area Foundation, other nonprofit groups. We have our own foundation, of course, that engages with other nonprofits. So it's a really natural avenue for you. I'm so glad we get to have you and that you get to partner with us. Yeah. So today we're talking about having fun on a budget. Speaking about money management, and thank you for plugging Money Management Boot Camp. Oh my goodness, yes. Excited for this fall. So having fun on a budget. Now, a lot of people, and you've heard me talk, think budget is a bad word. It's sort of a limitation on what they're allowed to do or allowing themselves to do. And then whenever you feel bad about how you're using your money, you tend to make poor decisions. So I'm not going to shy away from the word budget. I think it is I'm a huge fan of calling something what it is. So a budget is essentially what I always say is a map for your money. And so your budget is your financial plan to get you wherever it is that you want to go. How do you have fun? Can you share some creative ways to have fun without spending a lot of money?
Yeah, I think it's important to be transparent with yourself. Write it down. And once you figure that out, you can be like, oh, well, I have this expendable amount. But a lot of the time, there's a lot of fun things you can do that don't cost anything. Volunteer for places. If you know this group has a golf tournament and you really love golf, 9 times out of 10, they want golfers, and somebody is probably going to sponsor it anyway. So you can have a free opportunity to network, meet a lot of really wonderful people, as well as doing things you enjoy. So it's more about making those connections and having those authentic conversations that open up avenues to be able to have fun, but also not break the bank doing that kind of thing. So.
Brilliant. And so are there other free or low cost community events or activities that people can take advantage of?
Yeah, there's a lot of really unique things in Amarillo. There's Facebook groups for everything. You like pickleball, there's the pickleball group. There's just things everywhere. And a lot of the times there's other people within those avenues who kind of work through it, and they've kind of done the groundwork. So you don't have to pay to you need an extra paddle? Here you go. You don't have to pay your way to get into those things. Also, state parks. Parks are a blast. If you buy their state park pass, it's $85. That's 4 trips to the canyon with 2 people. Wow. So you can go anywhere in the state of Texas on a state park, and it's $85, and that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's a really kind of an affordable way that lasts you the entire summer. You get the opportunity to travel. Yeah. There are things also like Storybridge for those parents with young children who feel I'm worried about taking my kid to a place. Storybridge has free events in our local parks that can get them a free book. They get a snack. There's a fun activity. Yeah. Free things to do in the morning. The ECU Foundation helps out there every week, and we have community volunteers that assist with that as well. And what's so much fun is that seeing different parts of Amarillo and different parts of our community because you're traveling to a different park every week. It's really fantastic. Now, what are some strategies for finding affordable entertainment options in your local area? You've actually mentioned a couple. Like I said, keeping an eye out for like pickleball things or finding Facebook groups of your interest. But what are some other things that you found?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of promotional nights for a lot of things. Use your student discounts. If you're a student, I mean, like Chop Chop has a pretty good deal. If you're a student, if you're if you're a veteran, like those kind of things that you've intentionally invested time into, reap the benefits. Use those kind of things.
Very smart.
Like North Face has 15% off. Also a member of a fraternity that their CEO is a part of. So we get like 26% off on stuff, and it's super nice. So just kind of reaping the benefits of things you've invested in is really important. And a lot of people think, oh, I'm taking advantage, like, or, oh, like that's really snooty. But in reality, you're saving money because you put money in elsewhere.
Exactly. And that's part of sort of living on a budget. A lot of people, again, and I'm sure you've encountered this as well, people whenever they think about living within a budget or living within their means, they think they have to say no to stuff or they have to sort of decline. And even if you're not getting as much, or even if you choose to repurpose, there was huge talk, years ago, avocado toast. I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but like people like
yes,
self-indulgent items, whatever that is. Those were kind of frowned upon briefly, and then there was this like pendulum swing of like, I get to enjoy my life, and I like to think that one of our most successful staff members, they're able to now leverage significant investment opportunities, not because they didn't go out to eat for a year and save that money. It is because they repurposed what they were going to spend on going out to eat towards paying off a debt. You're not spending the money. You're leveling up. You're maximizing the benefit to yourself.
Being intentional with where it goes.
Exactly. And that's all a budget is. And so whenever you do network and make those connections, that's the same thing. You're budgeting your time and your social energy as well as your money in that way. I love that. Yeah. Then again, we talking about networking. How can socializing with friends and family be made more budget friendly? So we're maximizing those social connections, but sometimes that can cost money. So how do we make that affordable as well?
Yeah, I mean, one of the best ways I got out of my bubble in high school was I volunteered for the Oldham County Chamber of Commerce. And it's free to you. The Chamber of Commerce is purely there to connect people and invigorate the society on something bigger than themselves. And being able to do that in high school really helped me to just, oh, let's go meet this person. Oh, well, this job feels really way out there, but you know what? There's 4 people who've done it before me. I should probably listen to the 4 people, and kind of seeking out those opportunities through local chambers, volunteer organizations as well. And oftentimes, like, people make networking out to be this huge ordeal of like, gotta shake hands and kiss babies, play the full politician and all that. And most of the time it's just a conversation. If you're not asking people exactly the same 4 questions, where are you from? What's your name? Like, my favorite question to ask, what do you do for fun in this town? Like,
yes.
And that really connects with people. And oftentimes that kind of gives you fun things to do when you're there.
Like gives you some ideas. Yeah. Like how do you actually spend your time?
Yeah. And like, I mean, you get the best restaurant recommendations. You get the best cheap places, honestly, and you get to have authentic, honest relationships with people, and then that comes back to kind of kick up your spin when you do something else. And if you hit a hard spot and you're like, oh man, I wonder who can help me, you have a list of people who were super authentic that you could reach out to. And
you've networked with them. Yeah. You've made that connection, like, oh, I think you may have encountered this before. You might be of assistance. So again, keeping it affordable and at the same time, like I say, leveraging those connections and making sure that you have a network of support. Otherwise, that's really fantastic.
Absolutely.
Can you share any personal experiences of finding fun and entertainment while on a budget? I'm sure you can. So yes, tell me about when you found, like, yes.
Yeah. I loved hiking. I still do. And my big old dog, I have a 130-pound Great Pyrenees.
Oh my goodness.
And he loves hiking. So last year we did 215 miles in the canyon. And we have found everything in there. But like our favorite thing is to be able to load a bunch of people in our car, all one ticket because we have a park pass,
Mm-hmm.
and we all just get to go have a blast. And I get to barbecue for them, and like we just make a really fun deal that's kind of community based and just helps people get really excited about what we have to do. And as students, as WT people, as just people in the community, it's really good for bringing people together. So
That's really fantastic. And so it's just it's as simple as loading people up in your car, because one car load gets you in the park, and that's so fantastic. And then taking your best furry friend. Now I can say Great Pyrenees like that grooming bill though. However, like that's a whole different podcast conversation.
I go to Tractor Supply and do it on my own.
There we go.
It's an endeavor, but
all right.
It's a 2-hour endeavor, but we get after it.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So what are some tips to avoiding pressure to overspend? Again, you're young, you're in college, and I remember those days. It's been a long time. They're like silver. But I remember that sort of like my friends are doing this, or oh, there's this opportunity, oh, this band is playing at this place. Like, how do you avoid overspending in those, feeling the need to?
Yeah. I don't like using my debit card. I pull cash out. I'm kind of an old man in that way, but it helps me not overspend. Like I have a hard limit, $50 for the weekend, and that's it. If I run out on Friday, that means Saturday and Sunday I'm probably cleaning the house or something like that. But just being able to have a definitive cutoff is so important. I think a lot of people are like, oh, I just got a credit card, I can throw it on there. And then they kind of pile the bill up, and then they're like, hey, let's go out tomorrow night. And then they snowball that deal, and it gets really ugly. But if you're able to have a definitive cutoff, and also if you're really intentional about what you're doing and where you're going, that helps a lot. And you can kind of plan forward, and that also helps me academically as a student. I kind of plan those trips as rewards. I do great in class. That's when I can spend that kind of money and stuff like that.
There it is.
And that's really beneficial to me to motivate me to do better in class as well as not go out as often and those kind of things.
So that balance of using cash, because using cash is a surefire way to save money. Study, like I've said before, study after study shows us that whenever a person uses their card, whether that's a prepaid card, whether it's a debit card, whether it's a credit card, they're less mindful of what they're spending. But if they're using cash, then they're going to be aware that they're only getting, the few dollars and some change back from that $15 purchase, right? They're not going to round up or round down. And so, but also too, making it a reward. Like, yes, like you said, oh, if I do this, this, and this, then I can spend this money this weekend, or then I can buy these tickets or go on this trip. How can individuals stay motivated? Because again, it's different. It's great, especially those people who are like going to listen to this at 11 p.m. while they're like doing dishes, cleaning their house, cleaning the litter box, whatever they're doing. And then they're like, yes, tomorrow morning I'm making a life change. And then tomorrow morning comes, they're like, maybe I'm going to postpone that until tomorrow.
Yeah.
So how do you stay motivated whenever you're trying to apply the best practices for yourself? And you are clearly a person that like applies those best practices.
Oh, goodness, I appreciate that. I think it's really important to start little. I grew up at a place where they said you make your bed, you're going to have a successful day. And I think if you can start with like certain disciplinary things, your financial things kind of sort out a little bit more. If you can physically write out the budget, here's where my money's going. And oftentimes that's kind of the reality check people needed. Like, I have a friend who smokes cigarettes, a god-awful habit, but he spends over $5,000 a year. And he's like, oh man, I can never afford my truck payment. I'm like, dude, you pay off the truck if you stop smoking. That's all we got to do. We can stop smoking and pay off the truck.
The repurpose, that's $7 every day.
Yeah, but I think when you realize how much is going to certain things or eating out and those kind of things, you don't have to like completely abstain from those things, but just dial it back and
just be more aware, be more conscious of, not saying don't eat out. You should definitely quit smoking. It's a terrible habit. It's bad for you. There's no real benefits from it. You can reduce your risk of Parkinson's. That's the one thing. All right. So, but like other than that, nothing good about it. And so you can repurpose that money towards something, but of course, and then that can lead you to like connecting with other things like extension programs and all of those other resources that are available in our community.
And if you look at the percentages, I think that really helps people rationalize like, man, my fun stuff is outspending my bills by 16%. That's unholy.
Yes.
Or, oh my goodness, my expenses are 85% of what I take home. maybe I need to look into other things. Maybe I gotta kind of
Reduce some
downsize some
expenses,
things,
or maybe
yeah,
do I have the opportunity or capacity for earning some additional income? Hey, I don't want to stop these things, or hey, this thing will be paid off in a couple of years, so maybe I can earn some extra money
yeah,
temporarily. Those are great options to sort of be able to explore, and you can't explore those if you don't really have a budget written
yeah.
down, like if you don't have anything to sort of play with. What advice do you have for someone who feels like they can't have fun without spending a lot of money?
Goodness.
Oh goodness, he says exasperated. I have my answer for this, but it's a little snarky. Go ahead.
Yep, I think it's about your attitude. I think you just need to kind of take a step back and appreciate the little things, whatever that may be. If that's, hey, let's go take a walk in the park that costs nobody anything, and you can have a dang good time.
Exactly.
Like, maybe meet up with friends, and if those friends are always constantly wanting to spend, hey man, can't go tonight, or hey, can we divvy up the expenses? I think a lot of the time you take 6 cars to something, or you
Yes.
take all of these extra things, or everyone has to bring their own drinks and their own cooler and stuff. And if you can group finance a lot of things, it saves you a lot of money and it strengthens the relationship. Now
Absolutely. These are your partners in
Yeah.
this having fun. You're not just like, yeah.
you have a little bit of reliance and some reciprocation. Oh man, you got gas this week, I'll get dinner next week. Those kind of things. And also being able to kind of pay those things back. I think that's really important. If people know you're dependable, then that helps you, and it helps you kind of make those better relationships and extend those opportunities.
One thing I can say with our conversation that I've recognized is that I think if you have that sort of this locus of self-awareness and control, and recognizing like you're clearly a goal-oriented person, you're the perfect person to talk to about this, because you have this really holistic view of analyzing not only how you spend your social time and how you connect with others and how you network, but then also that translates to how you use your resources like your money and fun. And you have this really wonderful path that's been laid before you. So you're a really wonderful example of putting all of these things into practice. But yeah, staying motivated and trying and making sure we keep those social connections and build those fundamental relationships that keep us healthy. I think you've done all of that so wonderfully, and it's just really, I'm really so pleased to have spoken with you. Like, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. You're incredibly insightful. Is there anything you want to share, or something you want to address? Or
I mean, I think people really focus on the taboo of finances, and they're like, oh man, and like, it's never enough, it's never enough, it's never enough. And I think being able to kind of calm down, get off the high horse train, and be able to settle down and look at things, and also like kind of rationalizing if you have a partner, how that works. Oftentimes there's 2 budgets colliding with each other.
Yes.
And they get so mad. You see it at WT all the time. People get so mad. They're like, well, she gets to do all this and I got to pay for this. And it's like, well, how about you sit down and talk about it?
Exactly. You're spending a significant amount of time of your life with this person. Maybe we talk about how we use our money.
Yeah, and just kind of slow those things down and be really intentional about with who and what you're spending things on, and it makes things a lot more worthwhile.
You're absolutely right. And using those tools, like when you like you mentioned, self-monitoring, sort of when people see like 16% of their money going to this place, Education Credit Union, we have our tools like money management, where it's free. Yeah. All people have to do is click yes on their online banking, and we send them a report either on paper or via email every month that literally in pie graph form shows them this is 17% of your money went to restaurants and eating out, 23% to your utilities because it's July, and so you have all of we break it down for you. And that self-monitoring, it's not telling you that you're overspending, it's telling you how you spend so you can course correct yourself.
For sure.
And finding those free tools and those free resources, not just going to the canyon in the park in one carload, but even things as simple as your local library. Our Amarillo Library does a fantastic job of organizing community events of all ages. They have their maker space. They have internet access, of course, for those people who need it. And then just reading. We can all read the reports of what screen time does for your eyes and your brain. Pick up a book, But no, so it's even those simple, like tried and true fundamental community resources, and things as like $5 movie night and stuff like that. So there are so many resources and avenues to sort of save on a dime that yes, it is still a struggle, and it's still going to be work, and it's still a sacrifice, but building those fundamental habits, that discipline that you mentioned, is just the same. whatever path of success that you choose, whenever you find that success, you're going to have these fundamental habits to whenever you meet challenges, whenever your business goes under, whenever you have a significant financial hardship, you have these fundamental habits, these fundamental disciplines that you can fall back on and sort of ride through the storm.
Yes.
And so I love that. And just thank you so much for joining us today. You don't forget, you can catch the latest release of The Core every other Wednesday on Spotify or YouTube. And with that, we'll see you next time.